Hello people, in this video I wanted to take a look at the progression of Unicorns of Love's Sexy Edition's teamfight execution, which I think in this first game against Heretics started off pretty shit and then got pretty good eventually over the course of a few fights, and I just wanted to shed some light on that development. So first of all I want to take a quick look at the team comps. If you look at Unicorn's team comp, then you can see they have pretty straightforward plan. They have a Jinx that is supposed to 1v9, and they have literally 4 tank slash frontliners to peel her and protect her and make sure she gets reset and then correspondingly kill everyone on the enemy team. Very straightforward plan. Heretics' plan is a bit more difficult, and I would argue that their comp is a lot less clear in terms of team fighting. They have a Jace who kinda wants to poke, they have Zeri who kinda wants to front to back, and they have Wukong, Lissandra and Leona who all kinda wanna play for like engage and dive. So you could argue that this should result in a fight structure where they just start like poking with Jace, then they engage with these 3 people, and then Zeri does the cleanup. The problem is against the comp of Unicorns, I think the Jace has to ask like the Seju really nicely, and then if he asks nicely enough, Seju may actually start giving a shit about his poke, but I honestly doubt it. So therefore I don't really like that plan in this sense. So therefore I would say that in order to win or lose teamfights, that's more on Unicorns fucking up than on Heretics like having any actual like proactive leverage. Like of course Funky can always troll and like overstep, and Heretics can find a punish on that, which also happens multiple times, but again, that's more on Unicorns fucking up than Heretics doing something great, I would say. So let's just jump straight into the first example of that, which happens right here, where the teams are dancing around the dragon, and shortly after Bluezor steals it and flashes out, Unicorns get really angry and try to find an engage. And take note that all the Unicorns members are instantly diving onto the Heretics backline, which, as we just elaborated, it is not what they want to play for. They should want to play for the Jinx reset, and therefore should all just start focusing Marlon, because he is out of position right now and can just get one shot, and then Jinx gets a reset, and Jinx can actually get here and follow up. But instead they dive the backline and then make a surprise Pikachu face when they find out that they have no damage because Jinx can't follow. And then also Aibo finds a really nice flank punishing Unicorns trolling basically and just one-shots Funky, who then cannot play the game anymore, and yeah, Heretics just get the free fight that they should never get if Unicorns plays this properly. Also Cassandra Champ is fun. But luckily for Unicorns, they pick up on this, and I don't have their comps, but I would bet good money that right now they're talking something along the lines of, okay guys, we're trolling, we have to play around Jinx. Because if we look at the next fight, which happens a few minutes later, then we see that they indeed learn from their mistake. And this time, they play around the Jinx really well. If you look at this fight, they don't overextend, they just keep the Jinx safe, Jinx can free hit all the time, and like, they don't fuck up nearly as hard. They still fuck up, because if you look, again, they want to get the Jinx a reset, right? So they should focus one target. Their focus is still really spread out here. So they start by focusing Aibo, then they realize they can't kill him because Bluezor and Marlon find a nice disruption here. So then they're like, okay, let's turn on those people, but then they run out as well, and it ends up being a killless fight, but still one that I think shows some progress in how Unicorns understand their fight execution. And in the next fight it gets even better for them, which is this one. So even though this one starts off pretty bad, Vinru will end up getting chunked out here by the Jace pretty heavily. Right about here. This is actually kind of a bait for Heretics, because Heretics are gonna think, no, okay, this guy's low, we just one-shot him. But like, if they do that and commit onto Cassandra, then Jinx will just murder them, and that's exactly what happens. You can see Bluezor here tunnels really hard on the Cassandra and just runs into Jinx traps because he's not aware enough. And so Unicorns notice that and just one-shot the hell out of him and start running down Heretics, and Heretics still have tower, but Unicorns still get a good bit of damage, which lets them keep pushing. And then they go for a follow-up dive, which could still work really well if 2 things don't happen. Thing number 1 that shouldn't happen is what Mask does here. Eing against the wall is not exactly the greatest to do if you want to dive. And then secondly, we should note that Jinx does not have any mana here, and therefore she cannot use rockets, which is also a really big deal. I would make an educated guess that Funky has presence of mind here, which is why Unicorns probably think this is fine, because he will get mana back once they get the first kill. But they don't get the kill, and so Funky has to overextend and overgreed, and Aibo, with his dying breath, lays all the damage so that the good old Leona Q does the trick on him. But the fight before that still went well enough for Unicorns, to the point that the tanks can carry the fight with their base damage. And lastly, Unicorns do their best fight yet, in my opinion, on the Nash, where shortly before the Nash, Blue's decides to try to flip the Drake, which in my opinion is a horrible decision because now they're going to lose Nash for sure. And Drake doesn't matter enough. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now Unicorns just go straight for the Baron, and look at how, in comparison to the first fight, Unicorns play this way more calmly and controlled and coordinated. So they just all hit Nash, and Lexic zones and looks for engage. Then Aibo trolls, and Lexic will end up turning on him here. They will get insta follow-up from all of them. All of them are on the same page. They are all like, okay, Aibo's trolling, we're just one-shotting him with Galio ult and everything. And that's what they do. They just murder him. And then there's a short moment of discord, but after that they just all turn Nash. And now Heretics are walking up because they know if Unicorns get this Nash, then the game is basically just doomed, so we might as well walk up and try to make them fuck up. Like, what they're basically doing here is they're walking up and be like, huh, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do, little bro? But then, like, Unicorns just don't flinch. They play it calmly, they finish the Nash, and with the Jinx reset off of the Nash, they turn on Heretics, murder them all, and then end up winning the game shortly after. So, main lesson learned from this: even if you fuck up your first fight, you can still learn from it for the game and how you should be actually structuring your fights. And I think Unicorns did that really well here.